Mr. Truck here somewhere in Oregon. I am at the GM launch. We are doing the 3.0 diesel half-ton inline six. We've been waiting a long time for this. So we're going to be driving both these, pulling trailers, doing all the fun stuff I want. But this new truck for 2020, it's bigger, it's longer, it's taller, it's wider.
If you have a short bed truck, you know it's not easy to hook up to a gooseneck. Pop-Up came out with these extensions from 9 inches to 16 inches to keep you from breaking out your back window when you're pulling a gooseneck trailer. And everybody uses a short bed. That's the most proper truck there is a crew cab short bed. So protect that window.
Well, we're all the way up to 43.4. We've only gone 22.5 miles. Come on, Bruce, we can get up to 44. I know you can do it. Come on. Oh, come on. Look at that. You got up to 44.6.
And we turn right up here somewhere.
I love Chevy's label in the door frame. Tells you what kind of trailer you can tow, what the payload is, what tongue weight. It is wonderful. Nobody else has it. It said light duty and heavy duty. Now, Chevy, you're the only one with an exhaust brake, this 3-liter diesel. Ford doesn't have it. Ram doesn't. Okay, Chevy, where's my towing mirror for the half-ton? I thought it was going to be here this year. Yes, Chevy did the trailer plug right. The lid is on top to hold that plug in. Another manufacturer does it on the bottom, and it does not work well. You need that lid on top, holding the plug into the socket. So all your lights work, and error codes go away. It's wonderful. And now for the big trucks and trailers.
Actually, will tow 18% more than what the old 6-liter does. This is that new 6.6 V8 gas. And so the max towing on it's 17,400. Now, on the 2,500 here, actually the 3,500, we know goes up to 35,500 will tow for max trailer. It's higher than last year. And all that comes from what they've done to the fan, to the frame, and those extra 4 gears in the Allison. A lot of things go into that, making it jump up 12,500 pounds over last year's model. But I'm glad to see them in that over 35,000 pound range. That makes them compete with everybody.
Well, Chevy Silverado's competing again. They go all the way to 35,500 on a single cab 2-wheel drive, or all their dually diesels will tow at least 30,000 pounds. And this is very good, remarkable. The box trailers, the big cargo trailers, we pulled with the diesels. They had weight distributing hitches.
Look what they have for weight. This trailer is loaded up to 14,000 pounds. They've got 3 of those highway barrier rails in here. Oh, that is too cool.
We towed just 2,000 less with the 6.6 gas engine, the new engine for this year with the 6-speed. We pulled flatbeds with equipment on it, and the total weight on it was 12,000 pounds. So it was a nice test, not a heavy test. I really like the active hood scoop on the diesels. Air comes in, goes right to the air filter, and it gives you a little more air and a little cooling. But look at this one. This is the new 6.6 gas, and it has a hood scoop, but it's fake. It doesn't go anywhere. It's placed for the diesel block heater in the bumper. We started our driving experience with the 2020 HD Silverados at the airport, pulling these big 35,500 pound trailers and a 32,000 pound trailer. We can only tow 30 miles an hour, so we didn't get a chance for the exhaust brake to even kick in or grade braking. But we did get to take some trailers down the mountain and up the mountain, which was much better. This white one here was the 6.6 gas engine and 6-speed automatic, towing 12,000 pounds of trailer. And then later on in the diesel, the blue one, we got to tow 14,000 pounds up and down the mountain. 373 rear axle ratio. The last engine, the 6-liter, it had a 410 rear end, and I really like the 410 rear end. But this is a more powerful engine. It's still a 6-speed, but I think I prefer going back to that 410 rear end in these. I mean, it's not my choice, but I'm just saying to really be competitive, I think to give enough power, and so especially without a 10-speed, that I think that 410 would be a good choice for these. Now, we were pulling 12,000 pounds, not the biggest trailer, and certainly not what it's rated for, but we were in mountain areas, I think about 5% grade going up and down. And it did all right. Actually, in one section there where we pulled out of the roundabout there, we pulled the same area with both the diesel and the gas. And at the top of the hill, both of them reached 60 miles an hour, which was a big surprise. I thought the diesel, with only 2,000 pounds more, would be flying up that hill, but they ended up topping out at 60 miles an hour, which is kind of interesting. That kind of tells me that I want the diesel to have the old 373 again, 'cause now it's a 342. But 342, I'm sure all this has to do with fuel mileage and some other things, but that seems to be the axle ratio of GM's choice, the 342. They put it in everything. They put it in their little trucks. They put it in their full-size half tons. They put it now in this new diesel. So that seems to be where they're going. Now, what all these heavy duties have aluminum hoods and aluminum tailgates. The half-ton full-size series has aluminum hood, tailgate, and doors. So that's a little bit different. Now the brakes and the tires are the same as last year, and then most of the time they're in that 17-inch wheel on like a dually. You can get all the way up to 20-inch on the 2500. And two, they told me that even though the tires are the same as last year, they are now putting 15 psi more. Tire has to be engineered for that. So we'll see, what that does. I love the 15 camera views. I think it's out of 7 cameras, but there's nothing like it. This here is incredible what you can see with that camera system. I'd say the heavy duty has like 5 different models. There was 7 in the light duty and the 1500. And these trucks are still independent front suspension. Also new for this year is the automatic 4-wheel drive. That's what half tons the 1500 has. I didn't think they would do that to a heavy duty drive line, but apparently they made it work. So there you go. And you can get the automatic 4-wheel drive along with the regular 2-wheel drive and 4 high, and then 4 low. And another thing that really impressed me is, some manufacturers, like Ford, they'll limit to, I think it's 2% per 1,000 feet. After a certain amount, they lower your towing rating, which surprises me because that's even on their EcoBoost, their turbos. And what GM's decided to do in these Chevy Silverados is on all their heavy duties, they give the same towing capacity and rating whether you're in the mountains or whether in the flatlands like in Kansas. Now that's impressive because especially on these turbo engines, I think that's what gives you that extra boost at altitude. With thinner air is with turbocharged. The turbocharged diesel should have no problem, going at altitude, whether it's 11,000 feet or whatever it is. And then the heavy duties have, of course, that towing label. Now we didn't get to see any of them because these were pre-production trucks, so they didn't have all the stickers on them. But I want to see that and see on these heavy duties if it's a 15% tongue weight they're using, or if hopefully it's not a 10%. That's what they did on the labels on the 1500 last year, was 10% tongue weight. And on these, you can also get that power tailgate now. That's up and down, which is just awesome. That saves a lot of headaches when you're trying to get into that tailgate. Just push a button and let it drop down. Yes, the diesel. Now the diesel we're pulling, 2,000 pounds more. We're pulling 14,000 pounds in these box trailers, these cargo trailers. And I thought it was very good of Chevy on these Silverados, even on these bigger trucks, these heavy duty diesels who don't need weight distributing hitches according to the owner's manual. But when you've got a big box trailer like that, you get some side wind coming up, and a good weight distributing hitch with sway control will be great. You'll be glad you did it, because that wind can really cause problems on your trailer swaying, even if it's the right size weight and correctly attached. Now this also new on these diesels, they have this run after, which means after you shut it off, if it's not cooled down like it should be, it will start up and cool itself down, which is really cool. I do that with my ATVs when I'm in the mountains, and if we stop driving and we shut them off, I turn the key back on, let the fan kick on if it needs to. That tells me whether or not it's cooling off. So GM's ahead of the game there, where the engine will start up and run again after you shut it off if it needs the extra cooling. Now the 342 rear end, that's fine. I mean, if General Motors is happy with that. The older ones which almost every GM heavy duty from 2500 through 3500 always had a 373 rear axle ratio. So I was used to that, and I'm almost thinking that would give them a little bit of more soup. But you know, they're running 342. They love that rear end. And the diesel now, it has, you know, the same horsepower and torque as last year. Of course, they've improved the engine, but and then, you know, they've added the 4 gears to the Allison, which is great. But you got the 28-inch fan, the heavier frame, improvements in the suspension, but you're jumping up 12,500 if you go all the way to that 35,500 max trailer towing that they have. I'm also so tickled that they moved the def tank. It was almost dragging on the ground. And now it's way up level with the bottom part of the frame, which is great. And then it's got a giant cross member under it that holds it in place, which should also protect it. That's good. You can actually take these off-road a bit. And then the filler is you know, where the diesel filler is, in that same fuel door. They used to have it under the hood, and that was such a pain taking that 5 gallons of DEF fluid and trying to pour it in that little hole. It was not easy, and it was a pain in the butt. I like it in the filler. Of course, you got to make sure you're getting the fuels in the right holes. Diesel goes in the green one, and the blue one's the DEF tank. I can see people getting mixed up with that, but it's so much easier when it's lower like that. And a lot of the diesel islands, especially in the semi side of these gas stations, will actually have a DEF filler hose you can use. And it got a gauge on it too, because you know that's the big thing with these DEF. When you're too close to running out, you know, if you're in Wyoming or Montana or someplace where the next town is 100 miles away, you either need to be carrying extra DEF all the time, or be able to keep track of you know, your miles and what's left in the tank. Uh, but these trucks for 2020, you know, it's a dramatic towing increase. It's a dramatic different look. It's a dramatic size. These things are taller, wider, longer than they were last year. And now when you get into, you know, these 30,000-pound trailers, just like in Australia, the guys down under, they've been using 3-inch balls probably for 30 years. And they use it on everything. So that's their main gooseneck ball. We've been doing 2 5/16 for decades up here. And now you can actually when you're over 30,000 pounds, you should use a 3-inch ball. So you want to look at your owner's manual, because it looks like to me the way Ford's done it, the way Ram has done it, you use the same socket hole, they just bigger ball on top of it, so you can get that you know, that 3-inch ball to fit in your truck if you're going to tow those 30,000-pound trailers, and if your truck is equipped to it. But they're saying all the diesel dualies will do 30,000 pounds, so you know, you could very easily be in that category where you need a 3-inch ball. And then that heads-up display, it is so cool. I love heads-up displays. They've been in Suburbans for a long time, a lot of years, and I think it's great to be able to just keep staring at that windshield. You can pull up gauges, pull up whatever you want, and it's right there in your windshield, just like a jet fighter plane. I think it is so cool. It just tickles me to death. You know, I don't know which one of these things I like the best. I think the camera's the one thing I like the best on these heavy duties. But you know, the towing label is a big deal too, to actually know what your tongue weight should be, and then from that you can calculate what the trailer gross should be, and your payload numbers are all there. It's the more information, the better. So when you're researching your truck, to be able to look at a label instead of look through 20 websites to try to find those numbers and all the things you'd have to do, but you can look at right in that door label, and it will tell you all those numbers you need, your axle weight rating, everything, and so you can actually calculate how big a trailer you can tow, or if it'll tow the trailers you already have now. So big improvements to the 2020 Silverado heavy duty.